Okay, guys, I'm back, I think. Hold on, let me just check on YouTube. Okay. Hopefully, hopefully you guys can see me. So clearly I'm not freedom of speech is not something. I don't understand what happened. I mean, is there a reason why I can't play that? I don't know. I mean, we've played depositions before, I think. And I've watched other people's depositions. It's on Ryan Upchurch's channel, unless it's a copyright, but I don't think he would strike me with a copyright. So I don't know. Anyway, it looks like somebody. Hopefully, you guys can see me. Is anybody there? Okay, well, I'm just coming back to say hello. Hopefully, I don't know if I just did something that was. It said it was a policy violation. It said the stream's been suspended for policy violations. So, I was playing Ryan Upchurch's video, um, which is entitled "The Hilarious Deposition of Ryan Upchurch" regarding the Kylie Rodney case. And in the middle of it, my stream just got yanked. So there's some flag on that video for some reason. Maybe it's not supposed to be out or something. I'm not entirely sure. But regardless, I just deleted it because I don't want any problems with YouTube. And if I'm not supposed to be playing it, I definitely shouldn't have played it. It's just kind of weird because I don't understand why not. Um, I mean, it's already on YouTube, right? Maybe the court has decided that they want that off, but once it's out there, it's kind of out there, right? I mean, like, I get it. Mine just got pulled, but like it's already out there in the public. So I don't know how they're going to try to bring it back, but I'm assuming that's what the case is. Hey, Eric, how are you? Hey, Love Giga. Yeah, so they yanked my stream for playing that, guys. They yanked my stream for playing that. It's so funny. I'm not funny. Well, funny meaning odd funny, like interesting funny, not like ha 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 funny. I mean, I don't think it's that fucking funny, actually. It's annoying. So anybody who's here now, I'll just give a little update and then I'm probably going to sign off only because I was really looking forward to going through that online together. I know, right? My stream was on media fundamentalism and freedom of speech, and I'm going over Ryan Upchurch's deposition that he uploaded on his own channel. And I don't think he copyright struck me, which I don't even think you can copyright that because it's a public. I don't know. Are they private depositions? Maybe that's why I got whatever it is. Sorry to the YouTube hierarchy or whatever, but the reality is it is ironic because we were doing a stream on freedom of speech. And I can still say this before I go. Good. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm going to say this before I go, guys, because I actually have a pretty bad headache right now. Um, I think because we're having a big storm in the Northeast, and that barometric change always like gives me migraines. I don't know if anybody else gets that. I get joint aches, I get migraines. So it's a weird thing, but whatever. Whatever. Um, yeah, so back to this. Ryan Upchurch is hilarious, and you should just go on his channel and watch the deposition. And I guess they brought Icked Mel into it too, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what the whole drama is with Icked Mel and Ryan Upchurch and all this stuff. And I really don't even care about that part. I was more interested in the fact that we have Ryan Upchurch, similar to Alex Jones, out here questioning a narrative saying, I think it might be fake, maybe they're actors, et cetera, et cetera. And now he's being asked to answer for these things in a civil lawsuit as if he's caused someone damage by questioning a narrative. And I say that's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. We should be allowed to ask questions. And the questions, unfortunately, media, we know because of the Smith-Mundt Act of 2012, the way that it was, amended. And that's when all this playing in our face started. You're playing before, but after 2012, that shit got way worse and more obvious. Media, we're not dumb. We know that you are allowed to propagandize us. We already know they've been propagandizing us with Disney films and depending on, I'm not saying all religions, but some types of religions. They've just propagandized us in such a way, it's hard to know what's a real thought and what's planted in your mind, right? And the ground's getting unsteady, right? But you have to have faith. Remember who you are. I'm not trying to freak people out. What I'm trying to say is when the media is allowed to lie to us, we need to be able to trust our own intuition and our own discernment. And I think it's fair to say when the media presents us with something and says, this happened, for us to say, maybe it happened. We'll decide when we get the facts. And those facts mean things like a death certificate, a birth certificate, that these people actually existed. I mean, there's a lot of things that seem natural, right? Things happen. You expect certain things to happen. Not so in the Idaho 4 case. Not so in the Kylie Rodney case. Not so in so many countless cases. You could go on and on and on. The ones that are in the media spotlight, the big ones. Of course, they're not all fake. I'm just saying that you have a right to, first of all, if you think it and you want to speak on it, that's your right. Now we're going to get in trouble for thinking things. You can't even think this shit. If you think about that, it's illegal or against the law or insensitive. I call bullshit. I call bullshit. If something comes up in your mind like, that's interesting. That's odd. I wonder, I should look into that more. Are you supposed to be held? Nope, you shouldn't look into that. No. What about the families? Families are crying. You're not allowed to question if this is some kind of operation to fuck with people's heads about the criminal justice system. You're not allowed to question if this whole Idaho 4 thing is to see how many people in this country are actually in the world or whatever are paying attention, because most people aren't or don't give a fuck. I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to go up to the boardwalk later. I'm going to ask anybody I walk up to, have you heard of the Idaho 4? Do you think Brian Koberger is guilty? How many of those people that I ask if he's guilty do you think are going to say that he's guilty? I'm going to say the majority. But I'm curious. I am going to ask people. But that's the point, right? They think he's guilty, but like, why? Well, if you ask them why, I bet you when I ask them why, they're going to say, oh, he stalked them. He's an incel. He's this, he's that. And all the things they're going to say are all untrue. And when I tell them that, they're probably not going to believe me. But if they go and look for themselves, they'll find out that I'm telling the truth, right? And that the only evidence tying him to that place is touch DNA on one snap inside of a knife sheath, when we don't even know what weapon was used because they never found it. And we've been told all kinds of other bullshit, like there's more than one weapon. There's 2 weapons. All of these confusing things just sound like people who have like not studied their lines well enough to understand. I don't know. Anyway, I do think people died there. I do, just based on Olivia and the Gonsalveses' family reaction. I don't think anybody can act that well. I do. But the point I'm trying to make is the media can't expect us just to believe every bullshit they sell us. You know, you can look back throughout history, throughout even the past couple of decades, the young girl who testified in front of Congress that she saw, children being like abused or whatever. I think it was in Iran or somewhere. And then you later find out that girl is the daughter of some US diplomat and she made the whole thing up. These are real things that happen, right? It's not like you can say, "Oh, our country has never lied to us before," or, "Oh, sometimes government has to lie." It's like Big Mom or Big Dad, you know? Sometimes they have to lie for our own good. I don't wanna live in a world like that. I don't wanna live where other people make judgments for me because they know better, and then they only have and we already kinda do, right? We already kinda lived in this world where we're missing a lot of the information, and only a small group of people have all of the information. How are we supposed to even get in the game when we don't have any of that information? Well, you can find it spiritually within yourself. You really can. They wanna gatekeep it all because to them, materialistic shit is important. But that's the test, I think, you know? That's the test. Is all that pretty stuff really worth anything? I think somebody's smile is worth more. I think a hug is worth more. I think understanding someone is worth more. I think having conversations with your family or helping someone is worth more. I think there's so many things. Singing, even if you're off key, is worth more. There's so many things worth more than money in any material object. Capitalism, I'm not a communist. I don't believe in communism. I already told you I'm really at heart an anarchist, if I'm honest. But I just haven't found any good anarchy groups. And I don't want to be a techno anarchist because the techno guys are all doing ketamine and worshiping some AI demon. I'm not interested in that. And to be honest, I don't like all the tech shit. I don't like how the next thing is to like make silicone people. They're already out there. Have you seen these AI people? They're scary. They're terrifying. AI girlfriends, they're already out there. Men aren't going to marry women anymore. They're going to buy AI girlfriends. Some men, not all. I would say men who are misogynistic and genuinely believe that women have nothing to offer will maybe just have an AI girlfriend or whatever. But like men who value women and what they have and what, each can bring to the table, which are different things, won't use an AI girlfriend. But I don't know. I don't want an AI boyfriend. That's fucking weird. I don't care how real they look. It seems pretty much demonic. It just looks like a big play toy. That's weird. I don't like that. And I know it's already out there. I know they're already doing it. I'm just saying, like, the things that they're already doing eventually will get to us, right? It's like everything else. It takes a while to get to us, but it does come to us. And so I want to talk about it now. They want to try to normalize all this stuff. You can have a baby with 3 people now. You can split the DNA and have a baby with a throuple now. No, thanks. Just one more person that has to be involved in decision makings. No, thanks. I don't think that's a good idea. It's not normal or natural. It goes against nature, which means it ultimately will cause problems and fail in some way. And them telling us that, we can, I got to find this because this freaks me out, actually. Let me find this for a second. Yeah, it's terrifying, right? You guys all read the books, 1984, and that's hilarious. They look better in the pics. What's up, Tikkun? All right, here. I got to show you guys this because this is fucked up. All right, hold on. Wait a second here. Okay, here we go. Whoops, sorry. All right. Okay, so there was someone in my chat. I catfished by AI. That's hilarious. All right, so hold on. You guys are giving me more life. I appreciate you guys. Here, look, I want to show you guys this shit. This is fucking scary. Hold on. Trying to curse less. I really have to stop. Here we go. All right, here we go, guys. Ready? Somebody in my chat, it was very upset, was the username. Very upset. Said they stopped taking computer science because of where it was going, and they mentioned optogenetics. So, do you guys know what optogenetics? Lorena Bobbitt. Oh my god, that shit was crazy. All right. Optogenetics is a biological technique to control the activity of neurons. Neurons, which we're talking about, are in your brain or other cell types with light. This is achieved by expression of light sensitive ion channels, pumps, or enzymes, specifically in the target cells. On the level of individual cells, light activated enzymes and transcription factors allow precise control of biochemical signaling pathways. In systems neuroscience, the ability to control the activity of a genetically defined set of neurons has been used to understand their contribution to decision making, learning, fear, memory, mating, addiction, feeding. Guys, they're still trying to figure out how to make us better slaves, guys. They're still trying. This is all to enslave us. You can change light by the change of light that comes in through your retina, different ion channels, which are light sensitive, will be affected. And this can cause different things to happen in your brain. Francis Crick in 1979 suggested that controlling all cells of one type in the brain while leaving the others more or less unaltered is a real challenge for neuroscience. Isn't Crick one of the guys that did DNA? No, but there was something actually even more interesting that I want to show you guys here because this is fucked up too. Hold on. Sorry, I gotta stop with the F bombs. Jeez. Discovered. All right, hold on for a second because this was crazy. Um, yeah, the channel. Oh, this might be it. Applications. Hold on, this might be what I was looking for. And then, no, I saw something much more scarier than just helping people walking. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, of course they're gonna say that this can help, with walking and things, all the things that we would want it to help with, and nobody would, you know, say that's not good, right? But wow, they're doing experimental treatments for blindness with this. That's insane. That'd be actually pretty cool. It's just a little concerning because that means the light coming out of the phone can control us, and I'm sure it already is in some manner or another. Yeah, if you look at this stuff, it is actually a little concerning. But hold on, I really want to find that one article. It was better than this. Hold on for a second. Oh, let me see here. Hold on. Um, See if I can find it over here because it was really interesting. Hmm. All right, I can't find that. But I do want to talk to you guys about something else that I found last night and something that you might want to go check out. So if you haven't seen this, hold on. Let me pull this down. Uh, I'll find. Yeah, I can't stand the bright lights and the. Yeah, I'll go to a concert. I don't mind the concert and the sounds because I know I'm going to a loud concert. But things that are, it's kind of like I say I'm gonna be okay with it. But like when I'm in my house and stuff, like loud noises and stuff, I just don't like it. I like it to be peaceful, you know. Um, I think that's most people, though. I don't know, but I understand you, it's a little different because you're more sensitive to it. But here, I want to show you guys something here. Mormon monarch. It's called Mormon Monarch. Hold on for a second. MormonMonarch.com. All right, hold on. Okay. So I'm going to show you this one. This is kind of cool. Is there a way to do that? Oh my God. Please tell me. Um, I came across this guy on Twitter last night. His name is J.R. Sweet, and I followed him. But he says that he is a victim of MK Ultra, and he says that it's still going on, and he has these memories that come back to him, and it's actually kind of interesting. But what the reason why I'm bringing it up here is, and thinking you guys may be interested, is because a lot of the stuff he talks about is going on in Idaho. And so I did reach out to him on Twitter and ask him if he thinks anything in Idaho 4 could be connected in any way to, you know, these types of groups. So we'll see if he answers me. I don't know, but I just want to read some of the stuff because it's kind of interesting. So here, let's take a look. You guys can still hear me. I just want to make sure. And here we go. All right. All right. So it says, I am a survivor of the CIA's trauma-based mind control program, MK Ultra, and a CIA sleeper assassin who is now awake. I am blowing the whistle. This website is dedicated to the defragmentation of information regarding the Central Intelligence Agency's illegal, unethical, and unconstitutional top secret MK Ultra trauma-based mind control program. Through the words of a man who was born into it, lived through it, remembered to remember it, and is still alive to tell you about it. Okay? So this is him. This document is intended for persons over the age of 18 years of age and does contain mental and subconscious triggers for those who have suffered from Central Intelligence Agency's MK Ultra trauma-based mind control program. A friend of the devil is not a friend of mine. My name is J.R. Sweet, and I am a survivor of the CIA's trauma-based mind control program, MK Ultra, Project Monarch. I began to remember my involvement with the CIA and the Pentagon in the spring of the year 2017 AD. I think it's interesting that he uses AD. I'm glad that it's not BC, so you do seem credible now since it's 80. I have created this website for the purpose of informing you, the people of this country and of the world, what I remember of my involvement with the CIA and the satanic elite who control our world. I will tell you that I do not write these words light of heart, but rather these matters weigh very heavily on me. I have nothing to gain personally in the dissemination of the information that I will present to you on the website. I am willingly providing it for the good of all humanity. My greatest reward is in the exposure of and possible ending of what is nothing less than an atrocity being committed upon the children and the people of this nation and around the world by our own government, the CIA, the Satanic Elite, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Disney Corporation, and our military industrial complex, and many others. What I will discuss on this website are crimes against humanity committed by those we as a people should be able to trust, but that trust has been completely violated. I've created this website because I've tried several times to contact our United States government officials and federal law enforcement agencies to discuss what I can recall of my involvement with the CIA and the Pentagon. These officials include, but certainly are not limited to, all 100 United States senators. I've written letters to all of them on this issue, and they have all been silent in response. I've written to and filled out a whistleblower form for the Intelligence Community Inspector General. I sent this form to the ICIG 3 times, and they have yet to openly respond. I also called their whistleblower hotline, but nothing has been done by their office on this matter. I've written to the Attorney General Merrick Garland. I have called the FBI regarding these matters. I've written directly to the United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence several times, and I've even written to the director of the CIA, William J. Burns. I would tell you that I was not gentle in my dialogue, and in much of my writings to these people, I have openly confessed to my unwilling involvement in the assassinations and murders of several persons, including a man named Masaru Takumi in August of 1997 AD. My once favorite uncle, Gail L. Pulley, was my CIA appointed handler throughout my youth and was also involved with the assassination. And he told me at that time that the CIA and the Pentagon wanted Takumi dead because he had been involved with the funding of the gassing of the Tokyo subway system in 1995 AD. Ironically, my uncle also told me that Takumi connected the CIA and the Pentagon to the gassing of the Tokyo subway system, as the CIA had been instrumental in the creation of and actions of the Shinriko cult, which carried out the attacks. This is always the way it is. This is always the way it is. This cult was a CIA MK Ultra product and asset. These people run around and create fucking problems so that shit pops off. You know, they create a powder keg so that shit pops off. They really wanted it to happen on January 6th. They really did, but they sucked because people are too smart. Anyway, here's this guy who is he's openly confessing to being part of this assassination of this person and others. Okay. And if you start reading his journal, you'll see it. And he's very detailed. Okay. And he's telling you he's written to all these people. And if you go to his site, he shows you proof that he's written to all these people. Okay, cool. All right, I'll definitely check that out. Awesome, James. James Moen. I know that name, but for a different reason, maybe. Yeah, I'm the same way, Jen. All right, thank you. I will definitely do that. So yeah, so all right, so here's this guy, J.R. Sweet. Okay, he's got a whole website up. All right, and you might say, well, if it's true, why isn't the government taking it down? They don't have to take it down. It's sitting there and nobody gives a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody cares, right? I'm talking about it right now, and he's got followers on X, but I don't even think he has that many. But he the detail that he gives in his memories of these assassinations and people that he meets is pretty impressive. So he's either just like super creative and imaginative and smart, or it's true, you know. And I guess it could be either, but I think it sounds more likely that it's real. The interesting part, though, is a lot of this stuff takes place in Nampa, Idaho. And some of the shit he brought up was kind of scary. So let me show you this. Hold on. This is what I want to show you. Let's see where we go. All right, so it's Mormon Connection and Blood Atonement. He says, this is a memory about an evening when I was young and I was made to be involved in the murder of a family there in the Boise Valley where I grew up. The exact year of this event is unknown. This murder took place in a Mormon church building in my hometown of Nampa, Idaho, after a Boy Scouts Cub Scouts award ceremony. This family we would kill had found out about the pedophilic satanic network in the church and had actively opposed it and tried to expose it by talking to local church leaders and local law enforcement. They were said to have broken some form of covenant with God and the church. The entire family was made to pay for this in blood. There were several satanic members involved with this murder. This is the grossest part, and he mentions this place a couple times. The bodies of this family were dismembered and fed to hogs at a hog farm outside of town, which the CIA controlled at the time. I pray for all the blessings of heaven to go out to this family and to all of those that were hurt by these actions on that night so long ago. Family is used by the CIA as a psychological binding agent for those satanic and pedophilic families which are involved with MK Ultra and trauma-based mind control. While I was at Disneyland for the first time in 1984, I had been told by Dr. John C. Lilly on the television screen on the ride Adventures Through Inner Space that there would be one who would come into my life and would help me on my journey through the project. In this, Lily was referring to my CIA appointed mind control handler, an uncle from my father's side, Gail Pulley. I remember being on um oh, the roller coaster ride. Maybe it's called Inner Space, but I didn't have a personalized screen telling me that somebody would come into my life and help me on my journey. And if I did, I would have fucking thought I was pretty special and believed it. So it's pretty fucking scary they do this to kids. This man had married into our family, and it's why all the Disney movies are popular with these people because they're all like implanted memories that they put into them. It's kind of crazy, and it's like a this thing that keeps unfolding over the years. It's nuts. I had been told by doc. Okay, so he says his uncle, from his father's side, Gail Pulley. This man had married into our family by marrying my father's sister. The CIA and the elite prefer to use family members as handlers for their slaves because of the use of mental and psychological family bind instilled within all of us from birth. Children naturally trust their family members, and they should be able to. Religion, also like family, is used by the CIA as a multi purpose tool and psychological bonding agent. Whoops, sorry. Let me get back there. Psychological bonding agent. Where was I? He talks about how growing up in as a child, the church was a big part of their lives. We attended church services every Sunday. Um, my family bloodline also kills for the church and the dark secrets which are held tightly within its satanic community. When I was young and I attended church, Sunday services were always 3 hours long, and this meant that our entire Sunday was always consumed with getting ready for, going to, and cleaning up after church. After church services, we would relax around the house and typically watch television and or movies. It was a day of rest. Oh, sorry, I keep telling that. It's annoying. But, this is kind of interesting. So the reason I'm kind of bringing this up, hey, Lisser, right. So I'm reading. So I found this guy, Lisser. I found this guy on X last night. His handle, I think it's JR Sweet or Monarch Mormon or Mormon Monarch. But if you go to the website, which is what I'm looking at right now, Monarch, MormonMonarch.com. This is a guy who says that he is a product of MK Ultra CIA satanic ritual abuse, and that he is having these memories, and he's been documenting these memories in a journal online, and you can read them. I've read through a lot of them. And he says, you might ask, well, why is this guy putting this online? Like, why isn't the authorities like, because he confessed to like assassinating people. He tells you like what they do with MK Ultra and how they he brings up Senator Byrd. We'll talk about that in a second. But the thing is he shows you proof of sending with return receipts to like the FBI. He's called like local FBI, federal FBI, tried to report it, said he was involved in the murder, even gave the person's name, and they just don't even fucking respond to him. He's asked many times for his records, and he knows they have them because they deny it, but they won't even let him see his own records. So it's kinda crazy. They just ignore him, and they probably think most people don't believe him, and I'm not saying I know that he's telling the truth, but it seems pretty credible to me what he's saying, so absolutely it is. 100% odds. Yeah, the truth is inside of us. Everything we need is already in us, like they say, it's already inside of us. We have so much depth and richness just within us, within ourselves, that we don't pay any attention to because this crazy world that we're in right now. It's really traumatizing, honestly. Before it got this techy, like I'll say like in the 90s, it wasn't too bad for me, but the more techy it's gotten, the more difficult things have become. It's hard to focus on things. It's hard to it's really the most part is it's hard to focus on things and time goes by too quickly. And I do think that that's some sort of like shit they're putting on all of us, whether it's in the air or through the fucking screen. I really do need to I'm going to take this blue light off and I am going to do less time. Can't even sit down and read a book anymore sometimes. I don't know what it is, but I can't read on a device, not a book. I know, I need a book too. I need paper, and I will tell you that, I'm a big reader, and, I haven't done, like, a ton of reading books lately, although I am reading that one that I've been reading to you, Handbook for Recently Deprogrammed, uh, but it's just it's detox from the phone and getting away from it because you wanna start reading. It's something tangible about holding a book and reading a paper. It's why I haven't been able to get into the Idaho 4 documents because it's all on the screen, and Lana's smart to print all that stuff out. I just don't have a printer that's gonna handle it. I don't know. Anyway, I could do that too. I could totally sit there and read a whole book. I could read it, yep. Well, I mean, not like a 500-page book like, you know, Dostoevsky or something like that, but like a couple 100-page book or 300-page book. Yeah, the easy stuff, you know what I mean? Just sit down and read it or whatever. If you just like yeah, I've been thinking a lot about going to I'm gonna get back to this thing in a minute, this Mormon thing, because I wanna talk about it related to Idaho, but, if you get back to, there's this place called the Sky Cave Retreat. I've talked about it with you guys a couple times, and I'm seriously considering going, but essentially I think it might be in Washington State, Oregon, I'm not sure, but, um, this man and his wife own these, it's almost like these little caves in the mountain, and you go there and basically, you're just with yourself, and, the man or his wife brings you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and inside but otherwise, you're inside a cave. There's no light. And you're just left with your thoughts alone. You're not going anywhere. You're inside the cave. You could do it for a day, you could do it for 2 days, 3 days. I mean, whatever you think you might do. I mean, I'm saying to myself, I'm just thinking about it, I'm saying, could I even handle that for like 6 hours, without freaking out? That's a problem. That's a problem. And so I'm thinking about challenging myself with it because I think it could be a motivator to really break free from a lot of this tech stuff because I can't I don't wanna lose my mind, I have pretty good focus, and I don't wanna lose that, and, it seems like they're trying to take that away from us, or at least that's how I feel. No, I definitely feel that way too. Look, and here's Lister too, she feels the same way, yeah. I have a huge book collection too. Most of my books are I hold on to, like, the rare books or the out of print books and shit. I love those kind of books. You get really cool stuff at estate sales sometimes. But, back to this, I just wanna show you this one thing, okay? This is a guy who's talking about growing up in, like, the '90s, and he's giving dates of places and things that have happened. He is in, like, the Nampa, Idaho area, Okay, and he's a Mormon. And look at this. In this satanic group, potions and drugs are accepted forms of ritual practice and dark magic. For me, at this point in the evening, things were beginning to go over the rainbow as I was pushed into other personalities familiar with these types of behaviors and situations. My grandfather had bought a knife for this event, and I can remember the adults talking about it and getting it out. This was a long and sharp ceremonial blade with a bone white handle. It was double edged and came to a sharp point at the tip of the blade. This knife was similar to the one that I had seen my grandfather use while my little brother and I had been under the park in Disneyland when he had murdered that little girl there in 1984. And it was familiar to me. Satanic ritual murder is a very real thing. It is also important to note that Satanists will often use a particular weapon, such as a ceremonial blade, repeatedly over time for the purpose of such things as killing, torture, etc. Objects of dark magic are very important to Satanists, and for Satanists, these items of the physical world hold power. They believe that each time that this tool kills, it is given more power in some way. There was one among us who was chosen to run the blade for this event. In the satanic network within which I was raised, each family had a specific role or part to play in the events and rituals of the network. And I told you there's a family that I discovered in Connecticut that played certain roles in that Connecticut affair. So it's really interesting. And you can see them in their different disguises, and they show up in different characters in the future. In this way, all the satanic families involved are bound together in their crimes. It's a form of group blackmail. My family was skilled at doing the actual act of killing, a family of executioners. I was being raised to be a runner of the blade for such events as I am now describing to you. Other family members would be required to perform such tasks as dismembering the bodies, and yet others to transport the bodies out to the hog farm outside of town for disposal. In this way, all members were bound to the group as all members were involved with the crime. Many in the room were made to stand around the perimeter of the room, and all were in small groups of families and individuals. The white punch bowl was retrieved from the church kitchen and was brought to my grandfather. There was a door in the exterior wall of the room which led out of the building into the parking lot. Someone told some of the adults that it was time, and the exterior door was opened, and 3 or 4 male members went outside. Some moments passed before these members came back inside of the building, leading a group of people that were wearing white or light gray colored robes with hoods. He goes on to describe how they're like basically kidnapped. He goes, there were about 6 or 7 of them, and though I confess I can't remember exactly how many, and I don't like remembering these things at all. The people in the robes were led into the center of the room where the plastic had been laid out on the floor. Oh, that's just fucking. You definitely don't want to be led somewhere where you're standing on top of plastic. You're in a bad place. You're made to line up in a row from tallest to shortest. As I faced them standing next to the wall in the shadows, it seemed that the eldest was to my left and the youngest was to my right. Once they were all lined up and standing still, they were told to get on their knees there in the room on the plastic. The adult members of our group made them get on their knees. Their hoods were pulled back, and it was clear that this was a family with 2 parents and their children. There was a man and a woman who were the parents of the children that were there with them. I do not at this time remember knowing these people as I was very young when it occurred. This man's wife, who was next to him on her knees there in the room, was thin, around his height or slightly shorter. So he goes into describing a bunch of different things here. He does get into Yeah, like, look at this. After this, my grandfather hypnotized all 3 of us, my younger brother, cousin, and myself, so that we would remember to forget the events which had unfolded that night. He carried a pocket watch on a chain just for such events. Other members of the group were also being hypnotized there in the room as well. After being hypnotized by my grandfather, told my uncle to take us home, and he instructed him that he was to use a stun gun on us before dropping us off at our house. It is strange, but my grandfather also hypnotized my uncle after this event so that he could forget and deal with what he had been involved with. It's crazy. He talks about all this stuff. Anyway, he says, this is what I can remember of the family that was murdered there in Nampa, Idaho, when I was a young child by this satanic group connected to the CIA within which my family is involved. I do not at this time remember how the disappearance of this family was explained within the public circles of the area. But he gives a bunch of different memories here. Um, see. Hold on, I'm just gonna look at the things, but I just wanna mention, so, essentially, I'm bringing this up because of the Idaho connection, alright? This guy is relatively new, he's in the, like, 90s-ish era, which, that's actually a long time ago, that's how old I am, but regardless, he's saying he did this shit in, like, 2006 or 2007, 1997. He's giving a lot of details. He gave a guy's name in Japan. You can go and look them up and see. I looked up some of the things he said, and I found, like, things that happened in that area around that time that could corroborate what he's saying. But he's saying that he shows the stuff he sent to the FBI and the CIA and everything, and they're basically just saying, "We don't." They're ignoring him, and he's asking for his records, they're ignoring him. Is he a loon? Maybe, you decide. Go check out his site and see what you think. But it's curious to me because I think Dylan is from the Boise area, Boise, however they say it. She's from the Boise area, and this guy's talking about satanic bloodline families in the Boise area in the Mormon church. That's what this guy's talking about. He also brings up Rathdrum. He brings up a whole thing that happened in Rathdrum, and we know that that's where other families are from. So it's interesting. You should go take a look at his site. He does not mention anything to do with Moscow, Idaho, or anything like that. But I did ask him on Twitter what he thinks of it. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, I'm going to peace out because I actually do have kind of a headache right now. But thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, yeah, it's interesting, right? The Mormon stuff is super, super interesting. Yeah, I mean, have if you haven't read, oh my gosh, if you haven't read Brave New World, if you haven't read Brave New World in a while, it's pretty scary. Because what they're doing is in Brave New World, they're talking about ectogenesis, which is essentially, you don't need a womb. You can grow the fetus outside of the womb. Everything can happen outside of the womb, in which case women are no longer special by their motherhood because the state becomes the mother and father in Brave New World. And it's really, if you read Brave New World, if you reread it, you're gonna remember why it left that impression on you so long ago. And if you've never read it, you're gonna read it and you're gonna feel very heavy because it's pretty obvious that that was, foretelling of the future. And I remember reading that in elementary school. And wow, they're such fuckers to make us read that shit and then watch us have it come true. Anyway, well, then there's no need for you to do it because you already know what it feels like, you know? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, and so this kind of tells me here, right? This kind of tells me here that we're never going to get it kind of makes sense when you think about the power that this thing has, why we don't have the weapon, right? And then here's my thing, right? I think that weapon is likely hanging up somewhere on someone's wall or showcased somewhere as like somebody's great grandfather's World War II or somebody's. I believe that someone has that weapon hanging up somewhere because it is this is my psychic talking, guys. This is my psychic talking about the weapons that were used. At least one of them, I believe, is a antique, a family heirloom, and was used and has been used with these things over and over and is likely hanging up in someone's house. And yeah, that's where I think that weapon is. That's just my psychic talk, and I have no proof of that. Right, yeah, it does track, right? Because 'Cause I've read a lot about it too. I've read a lot of those books. I'm blanking on the guy's name now, but he's like the father of like the bloodline books, and he talks about all of it and all the people that come out on the side, There's a famous one named Kathy O'Brien, if you've never heard her speak on it, but it does. It all tracks. And, they people don't want to believe this happens. People, oh, the satanic panic, it's not real. It was fucking real. Okay. It was real. It was real. Teal Swan, go listen to Teal Swan. She's a victim of that. She got out of it. She's a really interesting person, Teal Swan. I actually like a lot of her stuff. Thank you. Hey, Frankie girl. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff to find in that journal about areas in Idaho that we've been looking at for the past 3 years. And he's a Mormon and he's just spilling the tea on how they do all the satanic ritualist shit, how they murder families for double crossing or speaking out, or how they murder families for different reasons. Okay, so it's just very interesting. And he talks a lot about a hog farm in Nampa, Florida, that's the CIA owns. And that's where they fed a lot of these bodies. Okay. So yeah, it's some real sick shit that he lays down. But I'll tell you, I was reading some of it and I almost passed out while I was reading it because it was making me feel faint and ill while I'm reading it. And it was funny because he said that they implant certain things in your brain so that when you get close to the memory that you'll forget, or not that you'll forget, that you'll actually give yourself a heart attack. It's pretty scary. He talks about that too. He talks about how his grandfather, you know what, fuck it, let me see if I can find this before, because this is so fascinating. You're going to find so many fascinating things from this guy. What he said his grandfather did, holy shit, this. And I'm too impressionable, so I can't read too much of this shit or I'm going to end up. Oh, he talks about being taken to like, here, this part really bothered me. Okay, this is creepy, okay? Like, think about this. He went back east in 1993. His grandparents took him to a Pride concert. So think about these, these kids that are like privileged, or like they come from like wealth or something. It could even be Barron and Ivanka Trump, right? Like, this could have happened to them too, for all we know. Like, some of these kids that are in the limelight have been abused in the background for years. Now, I'm not saying Barron, but I don't know. Some of them, I think, a lot of them have been. Some of them, it's obvious that they have been. Have you seen the cast from Wicked? They look like they've been through some kind, they're trauma bonded together, those two women. They can't, they're like two dogs from the kennel. If you're gonna adopt this dog, you gotta adopt that dog. Like, Jesus Christ, now, like, what's her name? Ariana Grande. You can't have Ariana Grande without Cynthia. You gotta take them together. They cannot survive apart. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's what's going on right there. That's some trauma bonding shit. It's crazy. Um, Oh my God. This is what happens when I get too distracted. Guys, just look in his journal. You'll see there's a lot of weird shit. The grandfather is a hypnotist. These people are it's unbelievable. And when I talk about like the ideal world I think of, where we're all families, we all live near our families, we have assigned roles at birth, we know what our gifts are and stuff like that. it, it's everything they're doing, but they're doing it in the evil way, right? What I'm talking about doing is getting rid of money, helping humanity, working on a basis where we help each other, right? And so not one person is going to get too much help because the resentment will grow. So people stop. And there's a way that people can gauge that. We don't need television. We don't need the government. We don't need anyone to tell us what is right and what is wrong. We all know stealing is wrong. And almost every commandment is based on stealing, whether it's theft of a life, theft of someone's trust, theft of someone's peace of mind. We all know what's bad. It's bad when you try to fuck up somebody's peace of mind, or you kill someone, or you cheat on someone. That's bad. You don't need the government to tell you that. They create the law so that they can do immoral shit. It's the only reason the laws are there. There's no other fucking reason for laws. There really aren't. I understand right now in our society, but honestly, the laws aren't even working anymore, guys. They've gone off the rails. It's like entropy, you know? It's because we're not living within the laws of nature. We're living in excess. We're throwing out plastic. we're poisoning everything. And when I say we, I mean, obviously I'm part of it because I've been a consumer my whole life. But clearly I'm trying to make better choices now. I say we, I mean all of us. Clearly, many people are worse than others. But it's just one of those things like, how do we expect it to be a beautiful, ideal world when we don't live in balance with nature, right? We don't live in balance with nature. If we did, we would know before a huge earthquake was about to hit, and we would all pick up and move on down the fucking road because we would have our ear to the ground or our eye to the sky, and we would know based on our intuition and our feet planted on the ground, we would know something's coming, guys, just like animals do. But we've let them enslave our minds, our abilities, and everything else. And they run around in charge with their special families and groups designed for special roles that are designed in hell. So that's my rant, guys. And despite all of that, I still have a lot of hope. Despite all of that, I still have a lot of hope. And there's unbelievable beauty in the world. So that's it, guys. God bless you guys. Love you. I'll be back again soon. What's up, Crypt? Hey, what's up, Cryptex? What up? What up? What up? Yeah, I know. Yep. There you go, JR Sweet. You've heard of him before. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's the black magic. It's 100% that black magic. And it's also, yeah, I believe in that too. I do. Well, it's, you know what? You can know it's true because of epigenetics. They found that genetics can carry trauma. So we definitely carry the trauma of our ancestors. And so I believe that trauma is, there's curses attached to that. And, this, in this lifetime, I don't know about you guys, but just like since I was born into this world in this lifetime, I feel like I've lived at least, let me think about this. One, mm, 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 so I think I've lived like 10 different lifetimes, like 10 different like things that I could, like if I put myself somewhere in my history right now, like it was so different. I was in such a different place around. It's crazy, right? So I have conquered a lot of my demons. I really have. Um, I also think they do it because they have, when you have that much wealth and power, right? Like when you have that much fucking wealth and power, it's like, what else are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, you can, you have, so you're Elon Musk, or you're someone like Elon Musk. You're a tech bro with billions of dollars. Like, what are you just gonna sit at home at night and watch TV? There's no fucking way you're doing that, right? There's no way. Right? Like if you have that much money, like you might, maybe eventually you would, but at some point, like, and you're going to be doing all kinds of crazy stuff, things that maybe you wanted to do. I'm guessing. I don't know. But like at some point, it's like, it's just not enough, maybe. And that's why capitalism isn't it. It's why it's not it. Because the money is never going to be enough. And the power is never going to be enough because it's not natural to have power over someone else. We're not supposed to have power over other people's lives and decisions. It's against the law of nature. Now, women as mothers, that's different. You have to nurture your child until they're able to, nurture themselves. And we do that with our children. But outside of that, and once they're an adult mind, we shouldn't be having these power struggles. And people are always like, "Oh, but people have to be equal." And people, it's not about being equal. Like Anybody who is born is invaluable. Every human life is an invaluable being. They're all every one of us is invaluable. So not one person is better than another person, right? But we can't take that to mean that we have to like make things easier for everyone so other people can exceed. Like some people are going to have certain strengths and weaknesses. It's just the way it is. But those have to develop naturally, and if you have village elders that pick it out. I mean, this is my ideal life, my ideal world, my head. But they're doing it in a nasty, power hungry, capitalistic way. And you can't build more pyramids or whatever, make yourself happier. So you're going to start doing disgusting things, grotesque, perverted things, because it's the only thing that gives you any excitement or a raise in your pulse. You know, that's my guess. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's it. Fritz Sprigmeyer. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Absolutely, and they try to pull that bullshit. Me too. They try to bullshit Satanic Panic, and that the Franklin cover up wasn't that was real. And remember, uh, George Bush had the prostitutes, the male escorts. That was the whole Johnny. What was that kid's name? Johnny, not Johnny Dash. He was a good-looking kid. The mother was always looking for him. He ended up getting abducted. He was a child sex slave with the Bush. Do you guys remember all this stuff? Yeah, family heirloom. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I have to look into that. Mormons are the nicest people I've ever met, but they are misleading in their churches. Not why are they collecting? Yeah, it's interesting, right? Girl, I've been feeling that way, and my mom's like, "Yeah, that's just menopause." Okay. I was like, "Mom, I think I'm dying. I think I'm dying." No, that's menopause. Not you, Elle. I'm just talking about me. Yeah, he's interesting, right? Oh yeah, right, Charlie. That's right, Charlie. Yep. L. Ron Hubbard said the same thing about him. Practiced black magic, and he's Crowley, and he's Jack Parsons, and he's CIA. Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny because like I'm gonna be honest, like I never really thought of the Mormons as some like dark group that like I have to beware of, but like it's tracking with Candace and what's going on and with Charlie, which I think was all 100% theater projection at this point. I don't think he's I was gonna say I don't think he's dead. Um at least how about this? It may be Charlie Kirk is dead, but let me just point these things out before I go. And I'm actually gonna go because I am tired. Sorry, but it's interesting. I like you guys being here to talk about it with me. These are the things that don't make sense with Charlie Kirk, okay? The fact that it even happened, number one. All right. And I say that about Butler too, because I think Butler was a hoax too. That was obvious propaganda. I'm sorry. I don't think Trump actually got his ear shot at. Big reason is because I saw them walk into the hospital and how it was handled and stuff. A real hospital, that would never be handled that way. Never in a million fucking years would he walk into the hospital like he did, like Trump did. No way. And so back to the Charlie Kirk thing. Charlie Kirk, number one, the fact that they're even saying it happened. I don't believe it happened. Number two, the guy that's doing that weird little thing where he like makes this little gun. It looks like he's making a gunshot where he's close to Charlie Kirk and everyone's like, it's a miniature bullet and it went into his aorta and it blew up and it got stuck in there. I think Mr. Lecco is saying that, who I like, and I'm not making fun of. I'm just saying that
I think that the guy did shoot something, and it was probably some kind of a pellet that created like this effect that looked like, to make blood come out of the neck, because I don't think it was real. I think it was a hologram. And if you look at the way it's set up, the camera and the angles and the size of the tent, all of it is very precise. If you look at it, it looks a lot like, they can do holographic stuff that looks very, very real. But aside from that, it was after what happened too. The way that it looked like somebody dropped down into the ground after Charlie got shot, and we know for a fact there's a trap door under him. Also, the way that they carried Charlie out of there and like threw him into a car and drove him to the hospital. That would never happen in real life. That would never, ever fucking happen in real life. Okay. Because in real life, if someone got shot like that, there would be paramedics nearby, because paramedics are always at events like that. You go to a concert, you go anywhere you go, there's a speaker, whatever. The high school graduation, for fuck's sake, they have a paramedic and an ambulance hanging out right there for that very reason. Not because they think somebody's going to get shot, but anything could happen, right? So there was no ambulance there. No, because they didn't want to have to lie more. They didn't want to have to make it hard, like, because they know we all watch this shit now. But like, really, a group of men just pick Charlie up as he's bleeding out of his neck and take him into a car and drive him to the hospital? Get the fuck out of here. Sorry, I have to curse on that one. Don't believe it. Nope, don't believe it. Not real. The next thing that makes it seem like it's not real is that he didn't have a funeral. Did he have a funeral? Maybe I missed the funeral. But the memorial service was really weird. Okay? The memorial service, super fucking weird. All right? Like, our whole cabinet was there. Trump's there. They could have blown the place up, and China could have just moved in, or Venezuela. They could all just come on in if that was real. And then all the things with Candace and stuff. It's just like too perfect. It's just wild. Anyway, my mind is exploding with all of these weird things that are happening right now. So I'm going to end the stream. But love you guys. Thanks for being here. And we'll catch up again next time.